You are listening to Veterans Action Report on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. I'm your host, Nick, coming to you live from St. Paul, Minnesota.
And I'm Andrew Canales, coming to you live from Evergreen, Colorado.
Every day, veterans are struggling with many issues spanning from homelessness to mental health crisis, often leading to 22 veterans a day taking their own lives. There are veterans all around the U.S. leading the fight to help guide our brothers and sisters to a better life. We will bring you stories from all around the country telling tales of veteran struggles and triumph. Every episode benefits veteran-run nonprofits Warriors Next Adventure, helping veterans fight PTSD through recreational therapy and new adventures. And Houses for Warriors, helping solve the homeless crisis, leading veterans to a better lifestyle. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 11 of Veterans Action Report. Happy New Year. This is our first show of 2022. As usual, thank you, KGRA, for giving us this opportunity. You guys have expanded my voice much farther than I ever expected, so I really appreciate you guys. I got a couple announcements. I was talking to Andrew the other day, and he's taking a program that I'm actually going out to visit him in Colorado next week, and they had to do it was like a little fundraising game that they had to place, but it was real life. And so they had to choose a nonprofit to raise money for. And Andrew just so happens to be in there. He's like, hey, what about Houses for Warriors? So he called me and told me that in 2 hours, they raised $63,000 for Houses for Warriors, which is absolutely insane. So good for him. That's awesome for him. That will pay for, I believe it's, I think that pays the rent for the house for the whole year. So they actually have a bunch of veterans that they can bring in, and they can house homeless veterans for the whole year of 2022 just because of that fundraiser, which is amazing. We are still working on trying to get Andrew Houses for Warriors out here in Minnesota, and I will be the manager of that house. So Houses for Warriors and Warriors Next Adventure will be working very closely on that aspect. A little announcement for Warriors Next Adventure. We have finally planned our Memorial Weekend hockey tournament. So it's going to be the WNA Memorial Invitational. So it's going to be an invitational hockey tournament. You do not have to be a veteran to compete at it. It's going to be $1,000 per team, which isn't too bad considering you have about, 10, 15 people per team. That's not too bad. And what we're going to be doing is we're using this as our official fundraiser to attempt to raise all of the funding that we need for the full year. We don't need much to keep WNA going. A lot of the stuff I do is, it doesn't cost me money. But that's going to be on the 28th and 29th of Memorial Day weekend. We have not opened up registration for teams yet. We're only doing an 8-team bracket for now. Starting next year, we likely will have an intermediate and an advanced bracket. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm from Minnesota. I grew up playing hockey. Everybody suggested doing a hockey tournament, so why not? We are looking for sponsors. We are looking for raffle items. We're looking for all kinds of stuff. So go ahead and go check out the website. I do not have the site up yet for the tournament, but I should have that in the next few days. I got to do all that myself. So today we're going to have on Michael Hicks from Hicksstrong. I'm going to play a video just so you guys can kind of hear a little bit about what they do. These guys will get you connected to therapy. If you're struggling with issues with the VA to try to get in and you're trying to get therapy, these guys will actually pay for, I believe, 20 free sessions. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to have him explain that. But as I believe they are nationwide. So these guys are doing amazing things. I met them in New York at a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I had to have them on the program. So I am going to share this video.
McCoy, from day one, we knew that he was destined to do something great. He had so much energy and life and joy. He was always smiling, always happy.
He was silly. He was a handful. He, gave us a run for our money from day one. We just clicked. I always talked to him about everything. He came to me for most things, and I was always like his rock, and he was always my rock. We just held each other up. He was always putting a smile on people's faces. People are down and out, him getting in trouble and me turning around to him being a nut, just his joy for life.
His senior year was a tough year for the family. As a self-discovering teenager, he wanted to go one way and we wanted him to go the other way. And so there's, normal teenage conflicts and stuff.
He wasn't going to just lay on our couch and play video games. So he had to figure out something. So he signed up for the Navy and off he went. We would get a few calls from boot camp and it was rough, but we expected boot camp to be rough. Like, it's boot camp. That's what it's about, right? And then from boot camp, he was stationed in Washington, D.C. And what that is, it's a ceremonial guard, and they do 6 to 8 funerals a day at Arlington Cemetery. He was just 18.
Those kinds of things you don't forget. So that really was like a tipping point, I think. That's where it really started to go downhill fairly quickly.
It took a toll on him. It stemmed his PTSD with having to do that, because not only was he burying sailors and soldiers his age, some were younger, dependents, so it was very difficult, especially being empathetic as he was, where he feels a lot of other people's feelings. It was very difficult.
I just didn't know. I missed it.
Our takeaway initially was anger, was frustration, was hurt and pain, and we didn't want to sit in that. So we decided, okay, well, what are we going to do with this pain? What are we going to do? Can we do something positive? Can we help? So that spawned Hicksstrong. Hicksstrong is an organization, nonprofit, that links military members with qualified counselors, licensed, insured counselors, that via telehealth, whether it's Zoom, Meet, you name the platform. We just want to get them with a qualified counselor that's confidential, that doesn't have an obligation to report to a chain of command. We want to give them that outlet.
After McCoy passed, I spoke with one of his shipmates and I said, what is something every sailor wants or needs? And her response, without hesitation, was a hug. So we have figured out how to mail hug mugs. So what they are, it's a 20-ounce mug, and we paint them, and then they're glazed and fired. And every one of them is painted different. And they go to military members. And I say military members because everything we do is for both active and veteran.
Pretty much any military branch, whether it's reserved or not, we're here for you.
I think that's a good place to end it. And we're going to bring on Michael, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Hicksstrong. Michael, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Man, that's a difficult video to watch. I can't imagine that's very easy to go over that.
It still hits. It still hits. Yeah.
So, for those who don't know and didn't see that, their son actually ended up taking their life. And what year was this again?
2019, February 11th.
So when was Hicksstrong formed?
So we formed Hicksstrong actually we were certified as nonprofit August 5th of 2019. So it was only a few months after losing McCoy.
Well, I love what you guys are doing. We actually met at a jiu-jitsu tournament back in October. I think it was October like 5th or something like that.
Yeah.
I was actually in town competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I had given a speech to the tournament because Justin Hall, if you're listening, congratulations, man. I ended up giving Justin a lifetime membership to Grappling Industries. And I just so happened to be giving a speech, and who was it that ran up to you guys? Because you guys weren't there for the speech, but somebody approached you and said, "Hey, you guys need to meet."
So one of our painters that's been a part of Hicksstrong for a while, she and a huge supporter. She was there. Her son was actually in a match as well.
Oh, okay.
And so she heard your story, and she's like, "Oh, you guys got to come," and because we were going anyway, and she's like, "You got to meet this guy." So we were like, "Yeah, let's check."
Well, it worked all nice, man. Worked all nice. So, what exactly What exactly drove you to start Hickstrong? I understand the reasoning behind it, but
Yeah.
what made you realize, mental health is what we're gonna do?
So, you know, hearing kind of the stories of what McCoy was going through during his time in the military, as a parent, you kind of struggle with, okay, is it our kid or is it the environment, right? We thought maybe it was a little bit of McCoy, but it turned out it was the environment. And so when he started, he was in ceremonial guard. So he was doing burial services and stuff, which was, in my opinion, I believe stemmed his PTSD because of dealing with all of those losses, was tough. So we realized that there's mental health needs in the military that they can't necessarily get access to. And after we lost McCoy, we found out that there's so much stigma there, that even just asking for help, their military members are afraid of the blowback that can come from that, right? There's supposed to not be blowback, but the reality is there is.
Well, coming from somebody who actually, I seek mental health myself in the military, and there's a reason why I'm such an advocate for mental health is because of what happened to me. They essentially said that I'm going to be non-deployable. They're taking my gun, and they essentially took me off flight. This was right at the tail end of my military career, and I ended up leaving anyway. So it was like maybe a week, but that's a week that I could have been hanging with my friends, like the people that I loved, instead of sitting there, cleaning and mopping the squadron, just for getting help. That's not the way it should go.
Right. And that's,
so.
Yeah,
I have a question. You mentioned something in that video that made me curious. It said that it's confidential, right? So this isn't something that the military will hear about, correct? So if you are an active military member and you need help, you can contact you guys. You guys will get them connected with a qualified therapist, and it will not go back to their command.
It does not. There's only two scenarios in which that situation comes to head, right? If the individual that has come through our program is in an immediate danger of their life or in immediate danger of another individual's life and or endangering a child, those are kind of the three scenarios where any therapist licensed in the country has to report, right?
Yeah.
And that's for the safety of themselves and or someone else. So those are the only situations in which we are obligated to kind of report to chain of command. So active duty can truly get confidential care. My wife's going to kill me for saying this, but I always joke and say, even if you got a call from your toilet, right? Like to get away from everybody else while you're on active duty, sometimes the bathroom's the only safe place to talk. So I don't know. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you can get access to the internet and you can get connected to your therapist, you have access. Man, it's all about cutting the gap, right? Cutting the gap between a military member and or their family member and a therapist, and getting all that red tape out of the way and really focusing on care. And let's do care.
And that's why I feel like, if you're in the military, you should be able to go to mental health without having any kind of repercussions. It's absolutely ridiculous the way the military handles this. And I've been extremely hard on leadership about this, and I've had leadership who I personally was friends with, like, unfriend me on Facebook because I was talking shit about this. I'm like, you know what? There's a huge gap, and this needs to change. Because imagine if we had a bunch of war fighters who were actually like mentally fit as well.
I'm glad you say that, because I say that a lot. That exact statement is, wouldn't you want your military members to be resilient to some of the common stressors and difficulties that they might encounter while they're active? I think you would want them to be able to withstand that, right? So, like, why not strengthen their mental health and give them an outlet?
Yeah, and that, and then I beat on leadership so hard about this, and I will never stop until I notice a change. I've had a few chiefs reach out to me who have heard me bitching about it, and they have offered to have me come out to their squadrons and speak to them. And I'm like, absolutely, please. I'm not here to crap all over leadership. However, when it continues to be the same reason why people either don't get help with mental health or end up killing themselves, we need somebody to piss people off, and I plan on being that person, and I will never stop being that person. You know, the first thing that should happen if somebody is either feeling, you know, weak mentally or they need help is they should go get help. It doesn't matter what the repercussions should be. You should go get help. However, you shouldn't have to worry about repercussions. That's
Right.
It's such a
Now, here's the thing. I mean, here's the other thing, right? Like, a lot of individuals feel like, okay, I don't need to talk to a therapist because I'm not suicidal, right? Like, you don't have to be suicidal to talk to someone, because you could be dealing with relationship issues, parenting issues, financial issues, deployment issues, you know, normal family issues. All of those things are, any one of those can be a trigger that can lead to hopelessness in an individual, right? So
absolutely. So for those of you listening on the radio, real quick, I just want to throw out our numbers. So we have a Google Voice number. If you guys want to text in anything to the show, you have any questions, you got any questions for Michael, Jolie's actually listening as well on YouTube. She had a case of the corona, I'm assuming, so she didn't join us. But the number 612-467-9489. I'll say it again. That's 612-467-9489. If you guys have any questions for Hicksstrong, you guys want me to ask any questions, go ahead and send a text to that number. I will get it personally, and I'll make sure to ask it. So, yeah, so, and the issue with mental health is, like, a lot of guys in the military don't go get help because of that fear, and you guys are providing them with a way around that, which I think is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, and I'm speaking from stories that were shared with us, individuals. You know, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. That happens. PTSD kind of messes up your brain a little bit.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Sorry about that. Continue. It fell out.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. No, what I was saying was the fact that you guys are giving them a way out, you know, somebody to talk to without having to deal with those repercussions, which I think is an amazing thing.
Yeah. What I was getting at is that I've heard that, like, when you're in, especially for active duty members, you're told chain of command, anything inside the military is the only avenue. That's the only thing that exists.
Yeah.
But the reality is there's avenues outside of the military that you can get help.
Well, we're taught to only look at what we were given from the military. It's like, you know, if you weren't issued it, you don't have it, you know, like common sense. You know, and it's obnoxious to think that the military is the only one that has the tools to connect you. Since I've been in the nonprofit world since 2019, I'm amazed at how many nonprofits are out there that actually help active duty as well. And that's half the reason why I do this show, you know, which used to be Warriors Next Adventure podcast, but now Veterans Action Report. My whole purpose, my whole point of doing this is to at least get this kind of information out there. And now that I have the voice that I have through KGRA, which I'm super grateful for, I can actually get people like you on this show and actually, you know, spread your message as far as I can, which I actually just got I got your logo, and I also I think I have a short bio. I'm not sure, but I'm going to throw you guys on Warriors Next Adventure webpage as well at the bottom, and the nonprofit partners.
Thank you.
Do you guys service just New York, or is it
nope?
Nationwide?
Because obviously everything was set up based on the unfortunate situation we had with our son. We set it up telehealth so that anywhere, no matter where you are, you have access to it.
Okay.
We currently have 4 therapists contracted, as well as a nutritionist, so we can balance, you know, nutrition goals that also help benefit your mental health overall.
Sure.
We can tie that in as well as
a lot of people don't realize gut health is extremely important when it comes to mental health. It's a lot of ties to the crap that you eat in mental health. You eat healthier, you will feel better as well. Yep. Even though, you know, why do they make pizza taste so goddamn good?
Yeah. So just for an example, we've supported military members in 31 out of 50 states.
Wow. That's amazing. So what would somebody need to do? Like, say I'm a therapist and I want to help you guys. How would I get connected with you guys?
So the first thing would be, if you're interested in communicating or getting connected, is shoot our info@hicksstrong.org email. Send your credentials, any information. What we'll do is we'll take that information and pass it along to our director of mental health, who goes through the credentialing, and we'll schedule a time to talk with you and see if you are okay with kind of the way that we're running things and joining as a contracted
Can you say that email
therapist.
one more time?
Yep, it's info, INFO, at Hicksstrong, that's HICKS, STRONG.org.
I'm gonna throw that in the comments so anybody listening can go back and look at these videos. Like I said, we have radio listeners, then we also have online listeners. So
yeah,
awesome, cool. And one of the things I was curious about was, how is this all working out? Now that you explained that it's telehealth, it makes a lot of sense. So let's say we have somebody in like Oregon, and you guys don't have anybody in Oregon. Can somebody from another state actually help that person still?
Yes.
Through telehealth?
Yes, there's different requirements and such across, which is kind of a separate issue that we would love to discuss with legislation to correct. But we have, because of our therapist location, where they're located, we can place someone from another state with another location that doesn't have the same restrictions to get them help.
So you guys just have like different regions that you guys can connect people with?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so they get connected. They literally, you go on our website, you click request therapy, and it's right at the top, and fill out that form. And we say within 24 hours, someone will contact you, just to give any leeways there for our director to get in touch with you. But it's usually less than that. And then you're in. Like there's no red tape.
One of the things that I thought was really cool, and I'm actually going to show everybody this. So if you guys are listening on the radio, you can go ahead and check out the video later. So I actually was looking at your website, and one of the coolest things is right at the beginning of the website, request therapy right there. So instead of having to navigate through the whole website, which is usually a problem with a lot of nonprofits, I tend to have that issue, but it's really nice. Just request therapy. And then once that pops up, you just enter in all your information. And that's pretty much it, right?
That's it. Yep. And then you're usually contacted. You're contacted within 24 hours, usually sooner, depending on availability. And then you're then connected with a therapist and scheduled for your first session. So it's super quick. Ultimately, we want to keep that level of availability, right? Because we've heard way too many stories of individuals losing their lives in parking lots at the VA. Because they've been told 6, 9 months, 10 months. And we've also heard great stories about the VA where they've gotten help, but we just don't want people having to wait that long to talk to somebody.
Well, it's always good to have a plethora of resources, especially when it comes to mental health stuff. Like somebody told me, the veteran nonprofit world is it's so saturated. I was like, if there's any world that should be saturated, that's veteran nonprofits, especially when it comes to mental health. There can never be too much, but the key is working together, which is why, Hicksstrong and Warriors Next Adventure, I definitely plan on working with you guys. I actually had a question for you. I have a veteran who I'm working with right now.
Yes.
Not going to give away info because I don't like to give away people's information, but if there was another veteran in this situation, this could be extremely helpful. So, he has court ordered therapy, right? But he didn't even know about the VA. He hasn't been using the VA. He's not registered with the VA or anything like that. Would that be something that might actually be able to help with?
So we typically don't get involved in supplying or court paperwork type stuff.
Sure.
There's a whole nother level of stuff that has to go into that.
Sure.
So if the individual's care is contingent on some sort of level of reporting to the courts as far as treatment plan goes, we may not be the right fit for that.
Sure.
However, if the individual is doesn't have a requirement for like reporting or where we have to interface with the courts and whatnot, but they're in need of care, and maybe they can't afford care, we can be an avenue for that.
Sure.
The one thing we stay away from is we don't want to duplicate services, right? Because one, for an ethical reason. If someone's in care already, for us or one of our therapists to provide a level of care just is unethical. So that's the
Sure.
only other scenario there that wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So it depends on the scenario. We can talk offline, as because we do some of the case management as well.
Sure.
So we can talk.
So you
about
guys
that.
do, I think you already answered this, but let's clarify. You guys do active, guard, reserve, military, veterans, right?
If you sign the line, we are here for you. And,
Do you guys have resources for family members?
Yep, because obviously knowing when McCoy deploys or when our family members deploy, the family really has to deal with those struggles of them being gone and having a new family dynamic. But then on top of that, when they come back, the family has to then adjust again. So it's a lot of stress, a lot of stress on families. So we do offer support for family members as well.
Nice. That's good. Hold on 1 second here.
Mhm.
I had a question popped up, but it disappeared. All right, we're gonna skip that one. We'll come back to it when I find it. Yeah. So, what would be the cost that goes into this? So, like, do these therapists charge you guys, or how
Yes.
exactly would this work?
Yeah, so we negotiate a reduced rate for the therapy sessions, right?
Okay.
So the therapy sessions cost us $75 a session, and we pay that for every session.
Okay.
Since we started, I think we're at 773 sessions that we've paid for.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and we restructured our care to give our therapists some flexibility as well as the individual, right? So when we say we cover up to 24 sessions, the way that's structured is when you sign up and you request help, you get 8 sessions right off the bat. So you get connected with your therapist, you have 8 sessions. If yourself and or the therapist feel that you need a little bit more time to work on some issues or strengthen some coping mechanisms, they can extend it another 8. And at the end of the 16 sessions, which is quite a fair amount of time of therapy, if you feel like you're good, you can choose to exit the program. And if you feel like you hit a bump in the road down the line, you can come back and get another 8.
Okay. We got a question coming in from Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say a name, but do you guys do couples therapy?
Yes. We several, if not all of our therapists are trained in couples therapy as well.
Nice. So how exactly would that work? Would it
So the military member, so it would most likely be either the military member and their spouse, regardless of whatever gender roles, right? Like,
yeah.
That's how that works. That's my best description. My daughter's going to have a field day with that. But yes, we do support that. Generally speaking, I think in the past we've handled couples as a single charge, right? So like you're together, working together.
Sure.
But if you have to separate and do separate things, then we cover them individually. And the together ones count towards the totals, if you will.
Nice.
For care.
So a question about the hug mugs. Is there any way that people can volunteer and actually be a part of that?
There is. So hug mugs is kind of like, actually, I mean, go into that. So hug mugs actually started first, to be honest. So after we lost McCoy, one of our church friends invited Jolie to go paint at a pottery place. So they did that. They started painting. She started painting mugs and found it very therapeutic. So then that's what spawned hug mugs. But it wasn't until Jolie had a conversation with one of his shipmates. She was like, what is something every sailor wants or needs? And that shipmate said, a hug. So we were like, okay, how do we give hugs? Luckily you asked, because I have them here. I have a couple samples. These ones are pretty cool.
Yeah,
they're all uniquely painted hug mugs by volunteers, supporters, and sponsors. So the way the hug mugs work is it's a fundraiser really for Hicksstrong to help support and cover the sessions that we cover, right? So here's another one painted. Nice. They all have our information on them, Hicksstrong hug mug, so that you know how to get connected and information goes with them.
Nice.
So the way you can do it is a hug mug painting party. So depending on your location, if you have a venue, you can do a hug mug painting party. We'll bring the mugs, we'll bring the paint, and essentially your sponsors will be coming to do essentially a paint and sip, if you will, right? The model is similar, but except you're not painting it for yourself. You're painting it for a military member to bring joy and hope into their life if they're struggling, and get them information on how to get connected to resources for care.
So is this, you guys are in New York, or what city are you guys in?
Yes, we're in the Capital District, in like the Albany area, and so typically we try to keep them in the region, right?
Sure.
However, one of our graduates is super enthusiastic, and we'll be putting on a party in Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, in March is the plan, March
Nice.
12th. So we will go out of state. There's just a different service fee for out of state to help cover the cost of getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming do you guys have mugs in the local area sent out, or do you guys actually ship them down, or?
We, well, we'll either secure them from a local supply at the event in another state to save on having to drive them.
Sure.
And damage, or we'll drive them ourselves and bring them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you guys do travel. Is there like a distance you guys try to cap on it? Because that's a lot of traveling.
It is a lot of traveling. We try to keep them relatively local to the capital region and or New York State. But on occasions where we're doing like a full-fledged fundraising event, and we have supporters that are willing to volunteer to take up some of the legwork in another region, we'll travel pretty much wherever as long as we have the support there.
God, they better make it worth it. Donation, right? So how would somebody donate to Hicksstrong if they want to take the donation?
There's a couple avenues. I mean, you can go right on our website. You can donate there from the donate buttons there. There's also a little link on the bottom that says support us, that every now and then we'll have different campaigns and projects so that support us down there on the bottom. Yep. There'll be different campaigns. Well, right now it's just that because there's not a campaign up there, but there'll be different campaigns that you can donate to. The other way is hosting a hug mug party. Signing up as a monthly donor, that would greatly help. Even as little as $1, $5 a month, that can go a long way to helping save a military member's life.
Nice.
Because we do everything via donations and grants. And with the numbers, just to kind of shed some light, in 2019, we helped 5 individuals with 38 sessions. And that was the same year we lost our son. So it's kind of a blur for us in that year. 2020, we helped 23 military members with 147 sessions, which was amazing for kind of the COVID shutdown year. Mm-hmm. In 2021, this last year, we helped 94 new requests. So the numbers are jumping considerably.
Wow. Well, it's because you guys are people are starting to see, and hear, word of mouth is a big thing, and I hope you guys get a lot of support from this podcast, and anybody listening, if you guys need help, please contact these guys. Yeah. You and Jolie were so sweet when I met you guys too, just kind of crazy how it all worked out too, that we just happened to be in the same spot.
Right. Yeah. And this year it was 575 sessions.
Wow.
Sponsored this year.
For 2021?
For 2021.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are doing good work, man.
If the number trend keeps going, we're expecting over 200 new applicants this year. And estimating needing to cover up to 1,150 therapy sessions if the trend continues, which it seems to be.
So let me ask you a question. What would be the benefit for a therapist to work with you guys? Obviously, I know in my head I could put it all together, but I'd rather have you throw it out into words.
So I would say the benefit is kind of it's kind of two front. It's kind of a therapeutic benefit for them in some way that they're helping our military members that are doing everything they can and sacrificing a lot to keep us safe for our our freedoms. And so far, all of the therapists that have been connected with us absolutely love the population that we're serving. They so our director checks our therapists' credentials, make sure they're up to par with state standards and above as well. And then Jolie and I check their heart because we really want our therapists to be able to provide quality, compassionate care. And I think that's what's really setting the difference. Not that other therapists are not compassionate, but our therapists truly love our military. And I think when you come on board and you're helping individuals that are struggling, that are going through things because of their service, I just feel like it's a huge way to give back and help those that are helping us.
Well, like I tell many of my vets that I'm working with, or anybody in general, that if you're struggling with life, if you want your life to be a little bit better, find a way to help somebody else, because eventually it will come back to you, right? You don't help other people just for the bounce back, but it feels good.
Actually, this goes back to your initial question earlier that I didn't quite answer, was that it's we could have taken this tragedy and turned it into anger and hate and sat in that and lived in that. But we opted to change that and do something positive and be there for another military member, like our son, when we would have hoped that someone would have been there for him, So we're just some good people trying to help other good people and get the help they need.
That's very obvious. You guys are doing great things. I say often that you can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control your reaction. And there's two ways you can handle a tragedy: is you can let it destroy you, you can use it for fuel. I'm going to continue to say that likely every single week on this radio show. Is you choose how you react to certain situations. If you want everything in life to to drive you down and actually slow you down, it's going to, right? But if you want to be happy, if you want to choose that route of happiness and of achievement, then it's possible. No matter what is happening in your life, there's going to be shitty things that happen. That's 100% guarantee. There's nobody in this life that hasn't had something shitty happen to them. The only difference is between the people who succeed and the people who tend to get held back are the ones who let life hold them back. You don't have to. And one of the best ways you can do that is find a therapist, right? I'm very big on telling folks that, leading from the front is an extremely important thing. I personally go to a therapist once a week, and it's extremely helpful in many different ways. Pretty sure he thinks I'm crazy, but it's okay. It's nice to have somebody that you can talk to and actually get good advice as to how to handle certain situations in life. I've done a lot of work on myself. However, anybody who tells you that they've done the work and they're perfect and they're good, they're full of shit.
You can always learn, man.
100%. It doesn't matter what you've gone through or what you've learned. You can always learn something from somebody, whether it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, But it's always good to surround yourself with people that are intent on self-growth, and you guys are definitely, a group of people that I want to keep very close to me, even though we, live on the other side of the states. But
actually, one of my best friends is in Minnesota, and he's got a hockey team. So I'll be talking to you soon about that.
Well, if he's got a hockey team, we have a Memorial Hockey Tournament coming up on Memorial Weekend, and we need people to register. So
we'll be talking.
Hey, if it works out, we're actually doing a veteran resource fair too for nonprofits. So on Memorial Weekend on the 28th and 29th is during our tournament. We're actually going to have a bunch of local nonprofits out there doing presentations as well. So if you guys want to come out, let me know.
I'll check the calendar. I know we booked the whole year out, so we got a lot of big events coming up. Some pretty cool things happening. It's going to be a busy year.
If you guys ever do come up to Minnesota, just let me know. Let me know ahead of time, because likely we're going to be doing dirt track racing almost every single weekend next year. Rip It Energy ended up sponsoring us, which Rip It's are awesome. so they ended up sponsoring us, and then we have a couple other people that were looking to sponsor us. But what we're doing is we're paying for people to go in the pits, and we're also paying for a couple people to sit in the stands. So if you guys want to come out and watch the races, check out the cars, you guys are more than welcome to come.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd love that. We like Minnesota. It's great out there.
Oh, dude, I mean, it sucks right now. It's been snowing for the last 24 hours, dude.
Everywhere between, outside of October to February or March, I'd say.
Yeah, March to like early December is pretty decent, right? It get a little cold, but man, January and February can just go screw itself. I need to buy a house in like Arizona or something like that for that time frame.
Right.
So we recently talked. So I always like to shift over to jiu-jitsu a little bit. So you guys were at the jiu-jitsu tournament. You said yourself that you started training again?
Well, I started for the first time.
Oh, you only went to one class, right?
Yeah. One class. It was actually a great time. Actually, I didn't realize how much I like rolling around and jiu-jitsu and submissions and stuff. It was cool.
It's good to take your stress out too, right? Where else can you choke somebody out and not get in trouble?
I can tell you this: I was not thinking about the rest of the world when I was there rolling on the mat. I can tell you that.
Yeah, so
it was a lot of fun.
You know what a ruminating thought is?
Yeah,
the thought that continues over and over and over and over and over, and so that loop needs to be broken to be able to actually heal, right? And so what jiu-jitsu actually does is TJ, and this isn't me. This is a conversation between me and TJ Kreitzer from We Defy Foundation. But it absolutely breaks that ruminating thought loop, right? So you have to be in the now. You have to be present. You cannot be thinking about anything, when you got a 200-pound gorilla on your back trying to choke you out. You got to be pretty present for that.
Seriously.
But no,
I think I'm going to go back to it because it's a lot of fun.
You should, man. You should. I push people all the time to go into jiu-jitsu. I'm a We Defy Foundation. I'm an ambassador, but I also work on their athlete engagement team. And so what I do is I actually reach out to veterans who are sponsored by We Defy. And I make sure their training is going well. I talk to them about mental health stuff and just, poke around and see what I can do to help them.
Yeah.
Luckily, all my athletes get Warriors Next Adventure too. So they're getting tag teamed by nonprofits. But every single person who I've ever talked to who's trained jiu-jitsu, and part of the reason why I was out in New York was because of my documentary, PTSD versus jiu-jitsu, is how helpful jiu-jitsu is for PTSD, right? So like when you get back into it, dude, I would just dive in, man, because it's gonna help a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with what you and your family went through. Your daughter should train too.
I'm actually gonna bring her. She's just got to wait a couple weeks, but okay, she's interested in going too. They have a females class, a self-defense class, and some other stuff.
Nice. So, how old is your daughter again?
She's 21.
Okay, so yeah, I thought she was way younger. I don't know. But no, it's amazing what jiu-jitsu will do. It's actually, and I say this all the time, is jiu-jitsu is actually one of the best and most beneficial self-defenses for women too. Because, like I said, my girlfriend's like 5'1", 5'2". She's pretty strong, but I'm much bigger than her. You would think that I would be able to destroy her, right? So me and her were rolling, and I had just taught her a cross collar choke. And if those who don't know, you put your hands up on the collars of the sweatshirt and you just squeeze, right? Or the gi, whatever you're wearing. And so literally a week after me showing her the submission move, we were at the gym and we were rolling, and out of nowhere, I go to pass her guard easily, like, right? That was easy. And the next thing you know, I didn't notice, but she slipped her hands up in my neck, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. And she actually tapped me out. I'm like, damn it. It's beautiful to think, like, a woman her size can take out somebody like me, which that's amazing,
Oh, yeah.
It's such a great martial art.
Yep. I was showing Sienna, wrist locks and stuff like that, on how to not break wrists, but, if someone's trying to grab you, how to get out of it. That I learned a long time ago. She was like, "Oh, that's cool. I want to go."
Yeah, we
like,
call wrist
I can
locks
walk
and heel
straight.
hooks. Those are prison rules. That's something that's evil to do to people. Put them in a wrist lock. But no, it's one thing that I did in the military that was super helpful. So the reason why I bring jiu-jitsu up as well is because this ties into what we're talking about here. when I was in the military in 2007, is when I started jujitsu. And I kind of a shitty childhood. I wasn't, didn't have the best stepfather, and my birth mom ended up abandoning me when I was like 11. So I had this mindset that nobody wanted me, nobody liked me, nobody cared about me. And so I just kind of stayed to myself. I stayed quiet, because if you're quiet, nobody's yelling at you.
Right.
Kind of the way I was raised. And 2007, what was his name? Sergeant Lilly. Sergeant Lilly. I'm still friends with him on Facebook. And then Sergeant Thomas pretty much pulled me out of my room and said, "Dude, you are not allowed to sit in your room anymore." I'm like, "Why? I'm not working right now." They're like, "Get out of your damn room." And so they thought I was like depressed when I was just a hermit,
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting here like trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey man, you ever heard of jiu-jitsu?" I'm like, "What is that?" Like, I don't like karate. He's like, "Dude, it's not karate." And so I watched UFC 1 and I'm like, "Man, that's awesome." He's like, "Do you want to learn?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it pulled me out of my shell so much. Not only did it give me confidence, but it also helped me. It gave me something to do to take my mind off everything else, right?
Yep.
My first deployment was Qatar, so it wasn't like anything rough. Anybody, who has told you that deployed to Qatar, and I put quotes next to that, is because it's chill. Like, there's a Chili's by the poolside, there's a Dairy Queen in the gym. Like, it's pretty chill.
Mhm.
But still, you're away from your family, you're alone, and I just couldn't get out of my shell. But jiu-jitsu helps so much. And I continued on throughout my military career, and I would recommend anybody in the military to get your ass to a jiu-jitsu gym and start training. It's super helpful for mental health. It's good for physical condition. And I mean, hey, choking your friends is fun, right?
maybe a little fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Just don't have too much fun with it.
I know, right? Start whispering in people's ears, "You smell so much better when you're asleep." Wait,
Right? That's weird. What?
We say the most inappropriate things to each other when we're at the gym. We have like Stefan. Stefan's like one of my favorite training partners. And like we will be sitting there having like a normal conversation about like we talk about like psychedelics, we talk about all kinds of stuff. We both listen to Joe Rogan, so
Yep.
But like, we'll be talking about a Joe Rogan episode while we're literally trying to murder each other. And like somebody taps, we just high five, like, "Oh, that was nice," and then we go right back to it.
Yep.
But jiu-jitsu folks are weird. It's a weird cult. That's for sure.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting back into it probably in a week or two. I just got to
Nice.
get my knee looked at.
It'd be cool, man. I mean, how far from Glens Falls are you?
Glens Falls is about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you ever want to train at a gym, I know a lot of these guys. I actually did one of my episodes of the PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu documentary up there at Glens Falls, or Atlas Glens
Yep.
Falls. Joe is the coach. He's awesome. He's such a nice dude. He's super friendly. He's a lot of fun. He's a smart ass that makes things a lot more fun. And then Justin, who was one of my vets that trains up there. Those guys are absolutely awesome. Like, if you ever want to go up there just to, get away and train jiu-jitsu for the day, just give me a call, man, and I'll hook up a date for you to head up there too.
Yeah, I'll connect with you on that.
Yeah, they're usually all at the local tournaments too. There's a Glens Falls Albany too, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's closer to you though, right?
Albany is closer.
Like you're essentially in Albany,
25
right?
minutes. I'm like 25 minutes north.
Oh, okay.
In Clifton Park area.
Yeah. Gotcha. I've only been up there twice. I've driven through a few times to get up to the God, how do you say that mountain range? The Adirondacks?
Adirondacks,
right?
Yeah.
There you go. I can never say that right. Everybody makes fun of me. But yeah, it's a beautiful area up there. People always say that New York is, people talk so much crap about New York, but it's like, no, it's just the city.
That's because they're only thinking about the city. Upstate
exactly.
is pretty dope.
It's beautiful up there, man. Like, I've been up there, I think 4 times. And then when I was with you guys, I actually drove to Buffalo that night.
Yep.
And I spent like 4 days in Buffalo. Like, I was like, upstate New York is nothing like New York City.
No.
So like 2 different states.
Exactly.
New York City might as well be its own state.
Yep.
But yeah. Cool. We only have about 5 minutes left. Is there anything you want to get out there that we haven't talked about?
I'm trying to think here. I mean, if you know anybody that needs help or that might be struggling, first talk to them.
Yeah.
That's a good start. And by all means, share our information. We're here for them and here for you.
I actually got a question for you. I
Yeah,
think this would be helpful. I have my own step-by-step process of what you should do. Like, let's say a person who is suicidal or a person who needs to talk to a therapist comes to you and says, dude, I need help. What are your steps of what you would do?
So, obviously in our situation, there'd be a military member, right? So, so if they were struggling and they said they need help, well, the first thing I would do is, if we were in person, let's talk about this. What's going on? Let's find out. Basically, I spend a lot of time listening to find out what's going on, allow them to build rapport, and allow them to share their pain, right? The next thing is assess and determine, okay, how can I keep this person safe? Stay with them, talk to them about talking to a therapist. If they're not willing or not willing to go in person, talk to them about telehealth therapy, and see if they'd be willing to schedule an appointment. If they're military, definitely go on our website, fill out that form, even fill it out for them, help them through the process if they're in a particular state, in that particular state, right? They might need help. And then once that form is completed, generally we're going to be contacting you very quickly, but stay with that individual to keep them safe. And then let's get them into care. Right now, our care may not always be the right fit because they might need a higher level of care, at which point we would recommend, okay, let's get a hold of 911. Let's get a hold of mental health resources. Let's get you into a facility that can truly, and not truly, but better take care of your needs, right? Telehealth is great, and it can go so far, but certain needs, schizophrenia and certain other types of psychological issues, might need a higher level of care, and so we would recommend that. But you'd be surprised how a conversation can go a long way.
Yeah, I definitely tell people that, if somebody comes up to you and seems like they're struggling, just talk to them, be a friend. You don't have to give advice. That's the big thing I always say. And the main thing is never tell anybody time heals all wounds. That makes people want to slap you.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
All right. Well, hey man, we gotta cut here in a minute, and I got some things I gotta say. So I'm gonna drop you off. Don't go anywhere. I just want to chat with you after the show's done, and then we'll sign off. So everybody go check out. Yeah, of course, man. Thank you. All right, everybody go check out hicksstrong.org. Go check out their Facebook page. There's a lot of different stuff on there. If you wanna help those guys out, just go check out some of their stuff. Go to hicksstrong.org. There donate buttons right there. If you need therapy or you need to talk to somebody, I highly recommend it. Like I tell everybody, there is no weakness for getting help. Some of the strongest people I know have taken their own lives because they refuse to get help. Don't be one of those people. Reach out for help, and there's nothing wrong with it. Again, everybody go check out House for Warriors and Warriors Next Adventure. I'm the founder of Warriors Next Adventure, and Andrew's the founder of House for Warriors. We both do the show together. I'm the host. Andrew pops in when he can, and he's actually the one that hooked me up with the show. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you again, KGRA Digital Broadcasting, for hooking us up and actually giving us this airtime. I personally really appreciate it. My voice is getting broadcasted a lot farther than I ever expected, so I really appreciate you guys. We're averaging like top 8, top 7 in the nation every time we're live. So things have been going very well for us. Again, if anybody's seeking help, go ahead and check out Hicksstrong. You can contact me, contact your veteran crisis line. Just do something about it. Just understand that you're never alone. And there's always somebody there for you. So I got to sign off. Everybody have a good day. I love you guys, and we'll be on next Wednesday.
Perfect.